and welcome back to the Board of County Commission meeting for the afternoon session. It's approximately 1:30 on May 14th, 2024. I would ask that each and every one of you silence your cell phones, turn your ringers off. If you can't silence them, just turn them off. That seemed to be somewhat of an issue this morning. But that said, we're going to move into our public hearing agenda. So I'll ask each commissioner to state any ex parte that they've had and disclose that, please.
I've had none.
I've had none.
I also had none.
I have given it electronically, and I had none.
Wait a minute, you had none, you gave it electronically?
Yeah, I give it to him anyway.
Okay. I had none and did not submit electronically because I had none. Just saying. All right. I will ask Ms. Kate Latour, the county attorney, to read the rules of public participation in the public hearing section of the meeting.
Sure. While the board welcomes comments from all persons with an interest in these proceedings, Florida law requires that the board's decision and quasi-judicial actions be supported by competent, substantial evidence presented to the board during the hearings on the applications. Competent, substantial evidence is such evidence as a reasonable mind would accept as adequate to support a conclusion. There must be a factual basis in the record to support opinion testimony from both expert and non-expert witnesses. Persons presenting testimony may rely on factual information that is presented by county staff, that the applicant presented, or on factual information included in the county staff report to support their testimony. All persons who present written materials to the board for consideration must ensure that a copy of such materials is provided to the clerk for inclusion in the board's record of proceedings and official minutes. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. For those who are wishing to speak or have a written comment, please grab a form in the lobby, fill it out, make sure you mark it for exactly the item that you wish to speak upon. Get that to the clerk, Ms. Dominique, up here on the front, and she will organize those and let us know which item is who is going to speak on which item, and then we will move through that item as expeditiously as possible. I will look to the board for proof of publication.
So moved.
Second.
First and second, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign. Hearing none. Proof of publication is approved unanimously. The first item is item number 36, Connection Point Commercial Center rezone, item 2024-0410. Ms. Annie Silloway, Senior Planner, will be presenting.
Good afternoon, Annie Silloway, Development Services, Senior Planner. The applicant is requesting approval of a rezone from A1 Agriculture to C3 General Commercial and Wholesale on approximately 3.75 acres located on the north side of Connection Point, approximately a quarter-mile west of State Road 426, in order to develop the subject property as a self-storage facility in compliance with the C3 zoning district, which permits general office, commercial, and wholesale distribution, storage, and light manufacturing. The request is consistent with the Land Development Code of Seminole County and is compatible with the surrounding trend of development in the area. The requested C3 zoning district has been established along Connection Point and the surrounding parcels to the north, east, and west. All have an industrial future land use permitting the requested C3 zoning district. At the time of engineering site plan review, the development must meet all requirements for parking, access, maximum building height, minimum open space requirements, permitted uses, and maximum FAR in accordance with the Land Development Code of Seminole County. The Planning and Zoning Commission met on April 3rd, 2024, and voted unanimously to recommend the Board of County Commissioners adopt the ordinance rezoning the subject property. Staff requests the Board of County Commissioners adopt the ordinance enacting a rezone from A1 Agriculture to C3 General Commercial and Wholesale on approximately 3.75 acres located on the north side of Connection Point, approximately a quarter-mile west of State Road 426. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Silloway. Any questions for staff at this point? Nope. Is the applicant here and desire to make any comments or presentation?
I'm here, Chad Moorhead, Madden Moorhead and Stokes, 431 East Horatio Avenue. Agree with staff's recommendation, just here to answer any questions.
Any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, hang close if you would, in case we need you back up. Do we have anybody here from the public to speak on this matter?
No, sir.
Seeing none, we'll close public hearing and go to the board. This is Commissioner Delari's district.
Mr. Chairman.
Delary?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt an ordinance enacting a rezone from A1 agricultural to C3 general commercial and wholesale on approximately 3.75 acres located on the north side of Connection Point, approximately 0.25 miles west of State Road 426 as presented here today.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Seeing none, motion carries unanimously. Next item up is item number 37, IOA Properties PD rezone. Item number 2024-0449, and this is the second reading of an ordinance rezoning a property from C1 Retail Commercial to PD Plan Development.
Good afternoon, Annie Silloway, Development Services. The applicant is requesting approval of a rezone from C1 Retail Commercial to PD Plan Development on approximately 13.66 acres located on the north side of West State Road 434, east of Interstate 4, for the subject site that is currently developed as a Longwood Village shopping plaza. There is an existing tenant within the plaza known as Dogtopia, who provides pet daycare and grooming services. The establishment would like to expand their services to include overnight pet boarding, which is not permitted under the existing C1 Retail Commercial zoning district. The additional use of overnight pet boarding will be internal to the existing establishment, and the tenant will be required to provide interior soundproofing to reduce any potential sound pollution, and outside kennels will be prohibited. At the time of building permit review for the interior renovation, the applicant will be required to demonstrate the soundproofing measures required. Staff finds the requested PD zoning classification to be consistent with the Land Development Code and the Comprehensive Plan of Seminole County. The Planning and Zoning Commission met on April 3rd, 2024, and voted unanimously to recommend the Board of County Commissioners adopt the requested rezoning a property from C1 Retail Commercial to PD Plan Development. And on April 23rd, BCC approved unanimously to adopt the first reading of the ordinance rezoning the property based on the Florida State Statute 125.66. Staff requests the Board of County Commissioners adopt upon the second reading of an ordinance rezoning a property from C1 Retail Commercial to PD Plan Development and approve the associated development order and master development plan on approximately 13.66 acres located on the north side of West State Road 434 east of Interstate 4. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Silloway. Any questions for staff? Seeing none, is the applicant here and wish to make any kind of statement? No applicant here. Do we have anybody here from the public that wishes to speak?
I have one speaker.
Sir, hold on a minute. We'll call your name.
Mr. Angelo Drago.
Mr. Dorado, if you would, please. Sir, over here at the microphone. No, go around. If staff will help guide him over there, please.
Sir, you've got to state your name and address on the record.
Yes.
Thank you.
Angelo Drago, I'm at 170 Springwood Circle. And I want to state that in the application, it states to go from Zone C1 to PD, okay? Now, one of the problems is that, is he talking about one property? He's talking about the entire 13 acres, not just that one facility, which is the dog place, okay? Now, we already have a lot of traffic and a lot of congestion, and as one of the condo owners, we don't even have a traffic light to get across. We have to use his facility, 13 acres, to get to the traffic light, okay? Because we don't have our own. I-4, what he did, he's blocking our 300 residents from going in and out of our condo right now. And the Department of Transportation is considering putting a traffic light and going after the federal government who didn't do his job initially. And now is blocking our complete condo for 300 residents going in and out. We have to use the parking facility of this insurance man who has all this commercial business going on right now. So any change in zoning is going to make it even worse for us, because we have to use his facility to get to the traffic light. So we have a problem on changing the zoning. We don't want to change the zoning, leave well enough alone. It's already in bad shape. Let's fix it step by step. This is what I have to say. And furthermore, as far as a C1 zoning, this gentleman who owns the facility is already parking his tractor trailers along our fence, which joins our condo, okay? And this is overnight. Is he going to bring them in with the dogs? That's my question. They're already parked overnight. And as far as I know, it's not zoned for that. And he's alongside our property in Springwood Village. So we gotta smell the smoke and everything else when he starts up his tractor trailers overnight. They don't go in with the dogs. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Drago. Any other public wish to speak on this matter?
No, sir.
Okay. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. We will move to Commissioner Constantine. This is your district.
Well, I do want to ask some questions, but just a clarification.
Rebecca.
But I'll wait. Thank you, Rebecca. Sure. As we discussed yesterday, Ms. Drago, I appreciate your comments. So I want to ask some of the things that are based upon what you said. At our last meeting, we talked about the first, public hearing, we talked about the fact that this is the only difference between what, as far as business goes, between what they're going to do is that the Dogtopia business could not be in a C1 facility. So they're asking for a PD, but in the development order, that is the only use that would be allowed outside of the C1 zoning. Is that correct?
Correct. So currently, the C1 zoning allows the grooming facility. So they have in the doggy daycare. So currently, there is the doggy daycare there, Dogtopia, that's an existing use. But they want to expand operations and allow for overnight boarding. But C1 does not allow overnight boarding. So in order to permit the use, then they are requesting to rezone to planned development. But the only permitted uses within the planned development are C1 retail commercial uses and overnight boarding for animals.
So I wanted to make sure that Mr. Drago and others that might be listening understand that, as we did before, that there is no changes in the businesses that are there now. And there's a lot of really quality businesses there, and none of them have come in with a concern about this. The business already exists, but they want to expand the business to allow overnight.
That's correct.
So it's an overnight doggy daycare, essentially, along with everything. And they have to approve the sound barriers before they can open up the business. That has to be done, correct? That is part of the development order.
Before they can have the overnight.
Correct.
Yes.
That's what I meant, before they have the overnight. Now, the second thing that is not part of this rezoning, but does concern me, and I'm sure it would concern others, about the parking of facilities along the, in the back and everything. Has anything been discussed about that, or is this just something that was brought up today?
I have not been aware of that since today, but it's perhaps a code enforcement issue if there's a code enforcement complaint that's made.
And that's what I wanted to get to. If it is a code enforcement complaint, Mr. Drago, you have the right to call up in code enforcement, and you can get with this young lady right here and explain it, and you can call up for a code enforcement violation if there is one. But you have to do that, not me, okay? So I just wanted to make sure that his questions, his concerns were answered before I, do anything more, okay? And you can get with him and explain the whole process and what he has to do on that one, because that has nothing to do with the zoning we're talking about today, Mr. Drago. Thank you.
Okay.
All right?
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Ready?
Any further inquiries by the board? Commissioner Constantine?
If there's no other further inquiries, then I move to adopt the second reading, the ordinance rezoning of the property of C1 Retail Commercial to BD Planned Development and approve the associated development order and master development plan on approximately 13.66 acres located on the north side of State Road 434 east of I-4.
Second.
A motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, carries unanimously. Next item up is item number 38, 3066 Kingfisher Point. This is agenda item 2024-0462. Ms. Robinson will be the presenter. Ms. Robinson?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mary Robinson with Planning and Development. As stated, the applicant here is proposing to construct a 1,244 square foot boat dock/house. This boat dock structure is a replacement for the existing dock. Chapter 70 of the Land Development Code, dredge and filling contains 7 items to be considered prior to the issuance of any permit. The application does comply with those 7 items and meets the height regulation as stated in the Land Development Code. Section 70.6G requires a public hearing for any boat dock over 1,000 square feet, and that includes the dock, the house, and a walkway, any walkways that connect to the land. The applicant was also issued a permit from Florida Department of Environmental Protection, and we request the Board of County Commission approve the request for a 1,244 square foot boat dock/house located on the south side of Kingfisher Point, approximately 3,000 feet south of Brumley Road, more particularly known as 3066 Kingfisher Point.
Is that it?
Sounds like it.
Ms. Robinson, is that it?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Any inquiries by the board?
Nope.
Seeing none, is the applicant here, and do they desire to make any kind of statement or presentation to the board? Sir, if you'd step up to the podium. Your name and address for the record,
Good
please.
afternoon. My name's Alan Horn. My address is 5106 Leeward Way in Edgewood, Florida. I'm representing both Mr. Luke and Fender Marine Construction, who's the contractor on the project.
Okay. And what do you want us to know?
We are demolishing an existing dock. It's enlarging, not enlarging the entire square footage, but we're lengthening it, but lessening the width so that it'll keep the same square footage of the dock as it exists.
Sure. Anything else?
Unless you have any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. Dominic, we have any people from the public that desire to comment on this item?
No, sir.
Seeing none, we'll close the public meeting portion of that item, and we'll move to Commissioner Delary.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the requested item for 1,244 square feet boat dock/house located on the south side of Kingfisher Point, approximately 3,313 feet south of Brumley Road, more particularly known as 3066 Kingfisher Point, as presented.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Carries unanimous. Thank you all very much.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Lockhart?
I'm having flashbacks of prior boat dock permit approvals. And at one point, I think it was Commissioner Constantine who
Yes.
even said, why do these necessarily come to us? And I think the answer was because your code says they should. And we said, well, maybe we should just change our code if this is a self-imposed situation. And so if you would just kind of maybe at another time come back and research that and remind us what we thought we were doing.
Yes. We have the,
Well, that's one, Commissioner, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
go ahead.
That's exactly what I told our county manager at my meeting with him and the staff yesterday is, why are we seeing this? It was a different group, but we all said, why are we seeing these things? There's got to be a better way than us having to approve just because it's 1,001 feet. You know, is there a legitimate, logical reason as to, why we do it on a certain situation? That's, so,
Yes,
thank you, Commissioner.
I think we should look at that. My recollection was the last time we dealt with this, those statements were made, agreed 100%, Commissioner Constantine's district. But it was a little bit slightly different in that there were two landowners at odds with each other.
Yes, there was.
Now, that aside,
That was different, correct?
yes, I think we are all on the same page that there should be certain things that, so if you all could look at it with our staff and maybe bring forward some proposal to us
Yeah.
on why we should continue or how we should not continue down this path would be
Or
great.
how we continue it.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
No.
No, sir. Thank you very much for being here today. Sometimes the applicant usually does better if they just take their win and go away. So have a nice afternoon. Thank you.
Although you could call any of us individually and offer
Absolutely.
good advice. How about
Or
that?
let Ms. Robinson know about it before you leave.
All right, next item up is item 39, which is agenda item 2024-0463, 5819 Bear Lake Circle.
Yes, thank you, Mary Robinson with Development Services. This is a request to consider approval of a 1,725 square foot boat dock/house on the north side of Bear Lake Circle, approximately 418 feet west of Lineal Beach Drive, more particularly known as 5819 Bear Lake Circle. This, like I said, will be a new boat dock. The property owner has demolished the previous boat dock. In December of 2023, the county building inspector did observe some wood on the site and asked the contractor what was going on. He stated he was replacing the siding on the boathouse. As a result, the building inspector posted a stop work order, and as there was no permit posted, the property owner subsequently did apply for a building permit, and the review revealed the need for a Board of County Commission approval due to the size of being over 1,000 square feet. As I stated before, Chapter 70, dredge and filling of the Land Development Code, contains 7 items that be considered prior to the issuance of this boat dock house. The application complies with these 7 items and meets the height regulation required by the Land Development Code. The applicant was issued a general permit for a boat dock boathouse by Florida Department of Environmental Protection. We recommend the Board of County Commissioners approve the request for a 1,700 square foot boat dock house located on the north side of Bear Lake Circle, approximately 418 feet west of Lineal Beach Drive, more particularly known as 5819 Bear Lake Circle.
Okay. That's it?
And I believe the property owner is present.
Okay. Any questions or inquiries of staff?
Not yet.
Seeing none, is the applicant here or property owner who wishes to make any statements to the board? You're sure? Okay. Stand by. Thank you very much. Anyone here from the public to speak about this matter?
No, sir.
Okay, we will close public input, and we will move to the district commissioner. Commissioner Constantine?
Well, this may be the reason why we went 1,000 square feet discussions, because this is basically a house. This is as big as my house, okay, 1,725 square feet. And more importantly, it's asking for forgiveness, not permission. Okay? They went out and they built this. And the interesting part about this, what are we going to do? Tell them to tear it down? I guess that could be the situation, but the fact of the matter is in talking to, knowing Bear Lake as I do, no one has called me to complain about it. And I will suggest that I wish that the property owner had done it a different way. I wish he had gone and gotten the permits and everything, but the pictures that I have now is that, this looks like, could be a auxiliary house that you could move somebody else into. I don't know about the plumbing or anything else like that, but, again, it goes to to the point that Commissioner Lockhart said and you said and all others, we need to have some sort of consistency when it comes to boat docks and exactly what comes to us and what doesn't come to us. And in this case, there's, in my opinion, because there has been no complaints and because from anyone and because it's already built, I would feel very uncomfortable in denying it. So I will move to approve the request for a 1,725 square foot boat dock house located on the north side of Bear Lake Circle, approximately 418 feet west of Linear Beach Road, and more particularly known as 5819 Bear Lake Circle, with the request of anybody else that's out there listening, get a permit before you build the dock.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a second to that motion.
You certainly don't want that last part.
Without that last part connected to it.
That was just an editorial comment.
Okay.
Without the editorial.
Motion and a second.
Discussion.
Commissioner Lockhart.
Yeah. A couple different issues and a follow-up question. The forgiveness rather than permission thing has become pervasive.
Yes.
Because there is no penalty, unless Mary can tell me that they have paid some sort of fine or there's been some sort of penalty.
This particular property was scheduled for the special magistrate, and I had a discussion with the building folks that do the code enforcement, and it's been put on hold since he was applying for the permit.
Not sure that answers what your question
So,
is.
okay, yeah. So, okay, so
More
let's put
questions.
that over here for a second. Whether or not, and I don't disagree with your statement about neighbors having concerns, but we as a board need to make sure that we are making decisions not based on whether or not neighbors are complaining, because somebody may be lucky or unlucky in their certain situation, but have committed the same type of infraction, and whether or not you have a cranky neighbor shouldn't be determining the outcome of your situation. So I do have a question for the property owner, for the applicant.
Can I add one piece of information?
Sure.
Since it was started without a permit, he will have to pay a double permit fee.
Okay. All right. Would the property owner come forward?
Sir, if you'd come down. State your name and address for the record when you get to the podium, please.
If I ask you a question, you can.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Brian Smith. I live at 5819 Bear Lake Circle.
Okay. And so did you hire someone to do this work for you?
A friend, actually.
Okay. And are they a licensed contractor?
I believe they are.
You didn't know that before you
No,
asked
because-
him to
no,
help you
because
out?
I hunt with him. I don't know
Okay.
if he's licensed or not, but
Okay.
I trust his work because he did some things inside my home also, and I know he did docks.
And did you pull permits for those too?
I got the DEP permit.
No,
it
for
was
the work inside the home.
No, ma'am, it was baseboards and window and door trim.
Okay, those require permits, the windows do, so
Well, that makes me
uncomfortable.
not the smartest guy on the planet.
Uncomfortable, yeah. So are you the friend? You're not the friend that did the work?
No, that's why. I'm the contractor now.
The contractor now. Okay, so come on forward then. So I'm doing this because this is Commissioner Constantine's district, and this just makes it easier for me to be the bad guy. So you are the actual licensed contractor that the property owner has called in to do the work.
Do you need me to speak my name?
Your name and address would be great, yeah.
Great. Maverick Von Herbulis, McKee Construction, 717 Monroe Road, Sanford, Florida. Trust me, I understand I'm on the Planning and Zoning Board for City of Sanford, which is part of why I'm here today, because I obviously know some of the concerns that you guys will have. I do want to just say in a second is that we're calling it a boathouse, or the screen's calling it a boathouse and a dock. The boathouse was already there. So the dock, what was happening is that I got pulled in after, I'll be honest, after the mess was kind of made to light. But the boathouse was already there. He was doing some of the dock work, and that's where this got put. So I just don't want it to, I know Mr. Constantine, you looked at saying, oh yeah, it's a 1,700 square foot home. That's not what it was. That's the square footage of the overall dock that's there. So there again, What we're here today for is to add the extra 500 square feet to the dock. So it was already approved at 1,150 square feet, something like that. What he's doing now is adding an additional 500 square feet to the dock, like the planks and that.
Okay,
type of work.
so that's interesting because that's not what staff's presentation was. So if you wouldn't mind, just for a minute, if you could have a seat. So Mary, my understanding was that the dock, the structure had been demolished.
That's what the property owner had told me.
But that's not a job.
So, and then they got the stop work order for replacing the siding on the boathouse. And the new materials were on site. Because he did demoed the dock without a permit also.
Oh, so, okay.
So I have a question. Wait a minute. Any other board members have, Commissioner Herr?
Well, just let me try to circle this up. You can demolish a dock without demolishing the boathouse. The boathouse actually looks like it's sitting up toward the land, so those are two different episodes. You can't replace siding on the side of a boathouse that you've demolished. So all of that is possible at the same time. And it looks like, and I would love to understand this, there was cause for the dock to be replaced, because that's what you've done. You've demolished it to replace it, and you just did that without permitting. And so that's the piece of it. I think there's multiple issues going on here with one thing. And while you're doing that, you thought you'd make it bigger, which I bet you regret now because of our 1,000-foot rule that we're thinking about getting rid of. I just thought I'd throw that in there for the humor of this conversation. So I think we're looking at this as though this is all mutually exclusive, and it's not. The house that's there is not 1,700 square foot. That's the total square footage, including the dock. The house could be there and not be demolished. The dock could be demolished, and the repair to the siding could still happen to the house that didn't get demolished. That's the picture that I have in my head. Is that fair?
Yes, yes.
Okay, there you go.
So
So-
we've changed.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So my
Yeah.
question is, did the existing structure that existed there currently, was it permitted? The existing boathouse, the existing dock, has it been permitted through this county?
I would have to get back with you on that. I did do some research on docks around the area and their relative size to this one. And there's only one that's like 1,500 square feet that this board did approve.
So
I think this existing dock has been there for many years.
it's,
built it?
I have no idea.
Commissioner,
Okay.
so I will, to the owner, as a fellow hunter, first rule in the field, know the lay of the field. Doesn't sound like you paid attention to that rule. Knowing, starting without a permit and doing some of these other things. Mr. McKee's father can talk to you about that as well. He's a big game hunter as well. But that said, I think where I'm seeing this go, Commissioner Constantine, I think there's a lot of unanswered questions that I'm hearing from this commission. So we have to make a decision. We're going to move forward, take a vote on this. If there's no further inquiries, do you feel that any concern we may be wading into an area that we may have to come back and deal with? Because I agree with some of the things that have been said by Commissioner Lockhart, that I'm not so sure we're talking about the right thing because of things that were not said by our staff in the original presentation.
And Mr. Chairman, if I could comment, it seems like there is some stuff that's maybe missed in this through the review. So if you would like, we could table this and we could, I could get with staff, go through it, and then bring this back to the board.
Mr. Chairman, instead of tabling it, if we continue it, it may be easier.
Well, that's what I'm sure.
Sorry, yes.
I'll be looking for a motion from the district commissioner, but
You know, and Mr. Chairman, and fellow board members, I think you could tell by the questions. I have a dilemma here too. I mean, it's you know, what do you do once something is already built? I mean, they're asking for a permit that, you know, and if we don't give it to them, the only other alternative is to tear the thing down. So, where do we go from here? I think that, and Commissioner Herr, I do not want to get rid of this. I want a better streamlined system. If 1,000 feet is the right answer and the right thing to do, then great, let's do it. But it just seems that in each case, it is something that we're pretty much either have a, he said, she said, two citizens mad. One doesn't want to lose their block of their view. And I was looking at this one, and sure enough, if I was the next door neighbor, I've lost my view of some of the property for the extension, but it was already there. So they didn't have the view in the first place. But again, we're talking about a person that did not get a permit, already takes care of it, and now is coming back and asking essentially for forgiveness. If the commission would like us all to get more answers, I'm fine with that, because I feel very uncomfortable about this also, and maybe we should extend it, and maybe this could be helpful in finding the right answers for the next dock circumstance. So with that, I will withdraw my motion, and I will, if the seconder withdraws his, I will move that we continue this with, trying to get more answers from the staff and the applicant, and now the contractor, not the previous non-contractor, but the contractor, and let's see what we can find out about this.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask for clarification?
Commissioner Delory.
Can you do time specific so we know when it's going to be coming back?
Next meeting. Yeah. Be more than happy to set it for the next meeting. Is that all right with you, Commissioner?
Yes. June 11th.
June 11th, fine.
Second.
Sir, hold on one second.
Second.
Just a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. You have a continuance to June 11th.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Lockhart?
can we get some clarification in the meantime, too, on what the process is for staying code enforcement action?
I'm sorry, for,
Well, we kind of heard that someone just randomly had a conversation and decided to just hold off
Right.
on code
Right.
enforcement action.
Yes.
Are you going to get on that
We're
and
on
figure
it.
that out? Got it.
we
Thanks.
actually
Appreciate
just
that.
discussed this.
Do you need a motion for that? Because I agree.
No, I think, yeah,
Fine.
great. Anything else on that matter? Great. Well, okay. Anybody need a break, or everybody good? All right, let's move on to item number 40. This is agenda item 2024-0646, considering a new ordinance adopting a new Chapter 71 of the Seminole County Code of Ordinances entitled Economic Development. The presentation is by Mr. Guy Cunier. Guy, welcome back again this afternoon.
Thank you. For the record, Guy Cunha, Administrator, Economic Development and Tourism. From this morning's meeting, this is the procedural ordinance that was discussed. The vote, just for further clarification, is only for the procedural ordinance. And as stated, the summary and ordinance adopting a new Chapter 71 of the Seminole County Code of Ordinances entitled Economic Development, creating Article 1 of Chapter 71 entitled Tourism Improvement Districts to provide for the procedures and requirements to establish, operate, modify, renew, and dissolve tourism improvement districts in Seminole County. Some of the highlights that were previously shown, a bond advisory council established, surplus funds, allowable usage of surplus funds, no more than 2 TID assessments throughout the county, and the 50% of rooms within the TID signing for petition. We are recommending the Board of County Commissioners adopt the Tourism Improvement District procedural ordinance.
Okay. Anything further?
No, sir.
Inquiries? Commissioner Herr?
I move to approve.
Second.
I
Motion.
think we had people that were
Second.
Public input.
We haven't got public yet, but motion, seconds on the floor. We'll go to public input.
None.
Madam Clerk, we have none?
No, sir.
Have you been reading minds? That's pretty good. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Commissioner Constantine.
Yeah, I didn't say anything this morning, but I just want to say this very quickly. I am so proud of the staff for putting this together, because not only did you go out and do your homework and get everybody together, but, bringing clean, healthy sports tourism to Seminole County works so well with, our moniker and what we're trying to do. But more importantly, only Ybor City has done this, and in the state of Florida. And that's with the city. I can tell you that so many other counties are struggling as to what they have to do and how they have to do it. And I think that they've already had inquiries from 4, 5, 6 different counties already. So I'm just so very proud of them. I'm very proud of the Hotel Motel Association for working together and putting this together. And in all deference and salute to Seminole State College, I'm going to say go big, go far. And say, let's do this. And for my own university, charge on.
Well, to Commissioner Constantine's point, I will tell you, I've fielded numerous calls from different cities and counties from around the state since this started, becoming a public item. Very envious of how we've pulled this to this point with the background studies. I don't think anybody understands the amount of background work that was done by the Hoteliers Association, the business community, our economic development staff, all working in harmony for the best of this county. And I don't think that a lot of counties and cities understand. It's just not like, hey, you decide to have a TID. So good work, absolutely. I'll call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, carries unanimously.
Good job.
Good luck.
Great job.
Get her done.
All right. Next item is the county attorney's report. Madam County Attorney.
I have no report today, Mr. Chairman.
Hey, fantastic. County Manager.
Just one item, just a reminder that there is not a second meeting this month, so our next board meeting will be on June 11th.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
Nothing from staff?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll go right into Commissioner reports. District 5, Commissioner Herr.
Included in your packet was a quarterly update from the Rescue Outreach Mission. I just wanted to share it with you. Some really good results, outpacing where we were last year, certainly outpacing where we were the 2 years before that. Good work being done. We also celebrated the Leadership Seminole Class Project with a ribbon cutting to the new bathrooms there and a check that was presented for $22,000 that was the remainder after the fundraiser was done. So we're seeing great things. If you haven't been out there recently, I would encourage my fellow board members to go and visit, and I would also encourage you to walk through out the back door to see the garden that's in the back that is also feeding the residents healthy, clean food on a daily basis that was put together in part by the Lake Mary Rotary and in larger part by Pardeep, who is passionate about that and out there every day with his hands in, it's not necessarily dirt because it's hydroponic, so I'm not exactly what, in the clay pellets that I now know about. But that will conclude my report because I would like to put the exclamation point after that. Really good work being done.
Thank you, Commissioner Herr. Good report on ROM. Commissioner Delary, District 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to commend the Sheriff's Department for the event they had last Thursday for the Law Enforcement Heroes Memorial. It was quite moving and done very well and with a lot of respect, and I want to thank them for that. I did get some notice that we have a young man, his name is Maury Jones, who just qualified to participate in the 2024 U.S. Olympics in the boxing division of 71 kilograms. He's currently in Thailand training and will be returning to Oviedo for a brief period before heading out to the Olympic Training Center in Colorado later, then to Paris. I'd like to commend him and all his hard work over the years. I'd like to be able to send him with the chairman's signature, not just a congratulatory note, but also wishing him well. Is there any issues with us doing that? I think we should just congratulate him and wish him well.
Sure. Perfect.
No problem with that.
And later on, there's going to be, it's going to be here for a couple of days. Once we get those dates, we'll make sure that you're all aware of it. There's going to have a big send-off for him before he goes to Colorado and then to Paris. So I just want to wish him well. It's a big accomplishment. Any young person or anyone that's going to be going to the Olympics to train at that level, they have a lot to be proud of. So congratulations and wish you well. End of my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Laurie. Good report. Next up is District 3, Commissioner Constantine.
Thank you very much. Did want to report that on April 24th, the staff had a Zoom public meeting on Orono Way and sidewalks, and there was no complaints on the sidewalk.
Either side?
So far, so good.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx
Nope.
it. Ruined
Nope.
it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, Pearls of, on the 25th, there was the Pearls of Seminole County in Longwood, and I just have to say that it was a wonderful event honoring some very distinguished women in our community, and just really appreciated the opportunity to be there. On the 27th, I think that Commissioner Hurd, Commissioner Delory, and I were all at the Second Walk for Autism in Longwood, and that was also a wonderful event that was put on. I did want to say, talking about the rescue mission, on May 1st, CalNO had a meeting. We were talking about, it was in Oviedo, and the event was, they were discussing the CRA in Oviedo. But then the discussion went on as we went from city to city. Sanford brought up the fact that they were, in their budget, putting in $15,000 to $20,000 for rescue mission. And I jumped on that to say, all of you should be putting money into your, whatever amount it is, and $20,000 is thankfully, something, but we would love to see even more because we're putting in millions. And it's important because that is the only place that we have more than 100 beds in all of Seminole County. And we need to support it. So I just wanted all of you to know that they got the message, and I saw a number of them writing notes because they are going through the budget session right now. I wanted to congratulate Shift B over in the Life Saving Award that was done in May 2nd at the Castleberry Fire Department. Again, saving lives, and it's just amazing just how many times that our firefighters, paramedics, and certainly police officers, both city and our sheriff's office, do such a wonderful job. This happened to be, as I think all of you know, former State Representative Scott Plakin's brother that was actually saved with the hard work and good effort of our fire department. OBJ, doing business in Seminole on May 2nd. Commissioner Zimbauer and others did a wonderful job on that, telling everybody how wonderful it is to do business in Seminole County. Most of the people from Seminole County, but that's okay. They'll tell everybody else, and that was good. May 4th, the Runway for Hope. I was honored to be part of that event that takes place in Orange County, but is for pediatric cancer victims throughout Central Florida, and they, I believe, raised well over $500,000 for that, and that was great. Also, on the upcoming, we all know that we talked about sports and sports tourism today. We are doing 2 events for NCAA Division II National Championships, and the festival opening will be May 20th coming up, and I believe it's at Cafe Mango in Orange County, but it's for all of the events that are going to be taking place, a number of them. The Wekiva River Basin Commission will be meeting on the 22nd. Just so you all know, there are still many things, Commissioner Herr certainly knows this, that we're still trying to work through on the Parkway, and That is a forum, not necessarily an organization that will correct it, but a forum that we work through with all the interested parties and the DOT for a number of those things. And our own Ritz Theater is having an art auction and opening reception on May 24th. Go out and let's support the arts in Seminole County. And with that, as quickly as I can, that's my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Constantine. Commissioner Lockhart, District 4.
Yep. I have for you all a very quick paragraph of, actually, I gave you one too many. Thank you, sorry. Make sure there's enough there for you. As part of my representing this board on the Central Florida Commission on Homelessness, part of the conversation lately has had to do with shelters and what they should and shouldn't be, and with the legislature's recent enactment, or the governor's recent enactment of the new legislation regarding sleeping in public places. There's been a lot of discussion in the region about what we want to see from a regional approach on homelessness. This was a statement that the commission itself made, and I made the suggestion that each one of us that represents an entity go back to our entities with this statement to see if it is something that we would want to put in some form of proclamation or resolution and adopt it as our own, as an entity in the region, not just as a member of the Commission on Homelessness, giving it a little bit more weight. So I'll read it out loud, even though I know you have it there in front of you. The Central Florida Commission on Homelessness is committed to creating low-barrier access to nighttime residences for persons experiencing homelessness in our region. While the Central Florida Commission on Homelessness does not support encampments, it does support permitted, sanitary, safe, indoor, and climate-controlled temporary housing solutions, and will use continuum of care resources for such facilities. Housing-focused, low-barrier shelters should provide a welcoming and dignified environment. The region should have adequate low-barrier shelters throughout the region so that no individual or family is turned away. This is a very simplified statement that I believe expresses our position on homelessness and encampments. And as we start to look at, and I know our county attorney is looking at that legislation and its potential impact on us, I wanted to bring this to you all for consideration, if not today, at a future board meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign? Seeing none, if y'all could work on that for the commissioner and get it back to us.
Thank you.
We'll get it to you ASAP. Thank you,
Appreciate
Commissioner.
that very much. I also have, I believe this has been sent to your offices via email. I wrote individually, just as me, again, as the representative of the board on the Central Florida Zoo, a letter of support for a grant application to the Florida Division of Cultural Affairs. That letter it's very benign. Please give the zoo money, they're great.
Is that what you want to say exactly?
That's exactly what it says. Please give the zoo money, they're great.
Did you sign it? Don't monkey around with us.
No, but I should have. That would have been good. Like the rest of you, I am sure I had an opportunity to meet with our code enforcement consultant, Mike Rhodes, last week. So glad that we have been able to find him. Thank you to Tricia Johnson for somehow bringing him down out of the ether and having him find his way here to Seminole County. I think he's going to be a tremendous asset for us with all the things that we're dealing with code enforcement. So I heard someone tell Amy Kirkland from Seminole State, congratulations on the prize.
Yep.
We have not been awarded the prize yet, but we are one of 20 finalists in the entire nation for the Aspen Institute, which really is it's a big deal. I was going to say BFD, but it is. It really is a BFD, especially in the state college realm. So very, very proud of our team at Seminole State and everybody that's pulled together to just get us to that finalist place. The National Weather Service and our emergency management team came together at the Sanford Airport last week to do a whole tour of the Hurricane Hunter plane. I saw a couple of our team members there. What a cool experience. If you ever have the opportunity to get into that those planes and see how that operates. It wasn't just the structure that was cool. We got a chance to talk to the engineers and the pilots, and actually got to talk to one of the guys that stands at the back of the plane and throws the drop-ons out. Like, takes a special constitution to be the person who wants to stand at the back of an open plane and throw that out in the eye of a hurricane. But it was just super cool. So congratulations to Alan and his whole team for working with the National Weather Service and the Air Force and the folks at the airport. It was a great experience. I think that is actually all I have. All of my other comments are related to your item later on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Lockhart. Great report. Staff will work on those statements from the board.
Yes.
I'll try to get the quick one out of the way right off the bat. I need to make an appointment to the Sanford Airport Noise Abatement Committee, and I am nominating Aaron Archie to be nominated to that position.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, Ms. Archie will be appointed. May 3rd, I attended the National Day of Prayer event at the Antioch Baptist Church in Oviedo. Great event. Saw Commissioner Delary there as well. Well attended. It was really interesting to see all the faiths come together under one roof for a common purpose. It really tells us where we're at in Seminole County and how fortunate we are that those from many different faiths can come together and have and hold prayer together in peace. And the message was love each other as a neighbor. And so it was a great event. As Commissioner Constantine mentioned, I sit on a board for OBJ Doing Business in Seminole. Of course, I promoted everything we could do in Seminole. It was pretty well attended. It was a great event. Followed up with an interview with the OBJ, which some of you may have seen on the TID, which we talked about today. May 7th, I attended the Orlando Sanford Airport meeting as the liaison to the board, and I will tell you that things are moving quite well there at the Orlando Sanford Airport with increased flights. The main carrier, Allegiant, is likely to bring on another 24 scheduled routes this coming year, which is a great thing for the airport. They continue to take over all the operations, and I will tell you that they're very pleased with what's happening as they being the new operators, the airport themselves instead of a third party. They've had a few little hiccups, nothing serious, but they really are finding their way and doing great work there. So we really look forward to the Orlando Sanford International Airport is going to be one of the big economic drivers, in our county for the next several decades. On May 8th, I met with the medical examiners meeting in Wildwood. Not a whole lot has changed there. There's still dialogue. They have picked a CM at risk. They are about to wrap up their architectural drawings, which are due in no later than September. They believe that if they are hopeful that a bid will go out sometime in January of '25, but yet we have no numbers, we have nothing yet. So I would say it's all in flux. So stand by. As things develop, I'll make sure staff is involved and understands. On May 9th, I went out and spent a day with the folks at Yankee Lake on one of my Dirty Jobs events. And my dirty job for the day, and I would encourage each of you maybe not to do this, but go clean out all the master plant transfer units. Wow. And you would think everything that goes through sewage is nasty, but I will tell you, I learned something. The nastiest thing about these transfer stations is the grease that comes from restaurants and those kinds of places. Unbelievable. And how difficult it is to get the grease out of those with a pressure washer wand that's like 30 foot long to get down in there and try to get all that knocked loose. It gave me a new appreciation and love for these men and women that have to perform those jobs. And I will tell you, the group that I worked with, not only are they the folks that work inside the actual plants, but outside in the transfer areas, but also take care of the pumps and those kinds of things. And we had a pump fail while I was out there that they had staff come and change. And I got to tell you, if you saw some of the things that they've done to save this county money, there are odor suppression devices that are put in some of these, so our residents don't have to smell the odors from some of these transfer stations. And I look over, and on the stack of one of these is a garbage can. And I'm like, is that a garbage can on top of that? Isn't that like the exhaust, the output? They're like, yeah. I said, why is it a garbage can? So they showed me. The amount of noise that comes out of the vent is horrendous. To buy the specific muffler that goes on there is like $20,000 or $30,000. Our people took a trash can, built a muffler with foam, and there's no noise coming out. It's fantastic. I mean, that's the kind of people that we need.
Ingenuity.
Absolutely. I mean, they're all MacGyvers. I mean, which is great, to get people up and moving.
The attorney's going, liability? I don't know.
No.
Just
It's not like something could happen. It's just a noise abatement thing.
duct taped. We got it.
So it was a great meeting, great trip, great field trip I had. And I know most of you probably been to Yankee Lake and been around, but it truly is an asset, and the employees that are there are a huge asset. And we have so much room to grow out there. And so I think it's going to be an asset that we're going to leverage for many, many decades to come. I know originally it was set to be used by other counties as partners, and that never manifested, so that puts us in a pretty good position. So that pretty much wraps up my district report. I will go to the chairman's report, which I concluded there a little bit, but the next item is this resolution to updating the operating policy procedures of Seminole County, and I'll give all my fellow commissioners due warning. I brought this forward because I know we've been talking about this for an extended period of time, and I know that staff has requested that people weigh in on it and give their input over an extended period of time, and I want to make sure that we are in a good place with this. So if we're not, and we need to workshop this or go any further, then just tell me now. We won't get way down in the weeds on this thing. My hopes are, as long as we've been talking about it, we would be able to find our place to get there. But with that said, questions? Commissioner Lockhart.
So it is, every time I think one of us has touched this, something has changed, and then staff has brought it back, and there's been more changes, which is not a problem at all. That's good, except some of the changes, I wish I understood the intent behind them, because the way I interpret them may not be the way they're intended.
Okay.
And so I do have several things that just popped up as just like, well, why would we do that? Which may be better suited for a workshop environment, frankly. But just a couple of the quick things that I noticed. On page 23, we talk about the order of business for board meetings, and number 3 is the pledge to be led by a commissioner as designated by the chairman. Well, I think I blew that out of the water because I started asking members of the public or staff members to lead the pledge. So we either need to take that out and change it, or we need to just have commissioners do the pledge. That's a very minor, just something that I picked up on that I realized that we either need to do it or change it. The time, then on the following page, on page 24, we only say that we'll allow 15 minutes for presentation items, but we clearly allow for more than 15 minutes, and probably should when it's appropriate. This morning was a great example of that. Yeah. So I have a handful of things, several of them in the code of conduct. Well, we don't call it the code of conduct. What do we call it? we talk about how we are going to treat one another and the public and staff, and one of the things that was removed was saying that we were going to, we had in there respect diverse ideas and something else, I can't find now the page that was on, I've got several dog ears, and apparently we want to take that out, which to me probably doesn't send the best message, that we're no longer interested in listening to diverse ideas.
So I think I can answer that one. If you go, and I don't have it, my notes in front of me, but just above that, it talks about how we will conduct ourselves, which in my mind reiterates what that one says.
Okay. The other thing that was interesting, this is going to sound really bad, so any citizens who are listening to this or any media who are here, please hear this with how it's intended. One of the statements was changed from that I will seek to understand other perspectives, and it was changed to I will respect other perspectives. Don't skewer me. I will always seek to understand. I can't always commit that I will respect. I will treat you respectfully, but I don't necessarily respect all ideas because some ideas are really stupid. And I know that sounds horrible, but the reality is I will always treat someone respectfully. I will always seek to understand, but I can't say that I will respect all ideas because there are some ideas I may fundamentally just disagree with and can't respect. So those are the kinds of things that I'm looking at. There are probably a dozen or so of them in here, and I don't know that we want to necessarily go through them all right now.
Great. So I would ask that, once again, if you all...
You have two people.
I understand. Commissioner Hurd, go ahead.
We can't keep going around.
I'm going to put a deadline on it, or suspect.
So let me just, what's happening, because I have met with staff every single time another round of edits comes, then another round of edits goes. We are in a loop. We are in the spin cycle of the washing machine, and it's not turning off. We have to either workshop this or sit here for an hour and go through it. I have 11 dog ears myself. There are things like saying that we can vote on things without notice. Well, we can vote on some things without notice, but other things we can't vote on without notice. So it needs to clearly say that, so we're not debating that from the dais. And there's a series of other items. One of them is the removal of the requirement for mass mailings to go through staff. You really want to turn all 5 of us loose with mass mailings? That seems like a bad idea for the public and an expense that we don't want to incur to the taxpayers. So I think there are things that need discussion. Some of them I think are understanding, and some of them I think are going to be things that we may not all agree with. But I think we have to have that live discussion.
Mr. Constantine.
And I guess what I want to say is I'm taking a different tack and just say that we're trying to solve every problem with this, and we're not going to.
No.
And the more specific and detailed we get, the less flexible we get, and the less real meaningful this is.
Correct.
So I go through it every single time, and every time we go through it and send it back, then somebody else comes up with a thing and they put it in, and now we got a new dog ear, right? I don't know what we're trying to accomplish with all of this, and maybe I don't have an answer. I'm not trying to. I just want to make a statement that I think we're trying too much, and we're trying to solve problems too much, and we just need to have some general, operating procedures and not try to solve every single problem.
Don't disagree. Anyone else on this matter? So I will ask that staff put together a work session in the near future.
Sure.
And I would suggest that we have legal drill down through the entire item, which I thought you had. And if there is something that's inappropriate, then of course, bring that to our attention. And then we can go from there. Got it. Fair enough?
Yes.
Great. All right, anything else for the good of the order before we go to public comments?
I do just have
Commissioner Lockhart?
My apologies. So I realized there's two versions in here. One was the strike ad and the other was the cleaned up, and so I've been marking both, and that's adding to my confusion, so I apologize for that right now.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm like, that's not the last
I
one
know,
saw.
I know. It's my sincere apologies. Two things that would fall into this category that I was going to bring up under my district report, but I will throw it into this mix. And if other board members think it's a great idea, fine. If not, then forget I said it. It seems to me that over time, in the last few years, there have been instances where we have had members of the public, whether they be applicants or people testifying for public hearings, that maybe have said some things that were outside of the bounds of facts. They lied.
Yeah.
Okay. And
That's been going on as long as I've been here.
And I've noticed that there are other jurisdictions that swear people who intend to give testimony during quasi-judicial hearings, that they swear everybody in at the beginning so that they can say, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And I think that would have several impacts. One is it would make someone really potentially think twice about the importance of what it is that they're about to say before they're testifying in a quasi-judicial matter. And it would help to express that these quasi-judicial items really are, for us, being based on factual testimony, that it's not opinion, it's not feelings, it's things that are able to be legally substantiated. So I wanted to throw that out there as something that maybe we would want to consider adopting as a part of our procedure. I'm sure there are negatives and positives to that, but I saw it and I thought, I wonder. So just throwing that out there.
So my response, Commissioner, would be, I don't disagree with the thought process. I would tell you that, honestly, many folks that come to testify to us in those quasi-judicial settings, they truly believe in their heart of hearts what they're saying is the truth. So in order to flush that out, I don't think swearing them in is going to accomplish that, number one. Number two, it should be the chair's job to stop anything that's non-germane or incorrect during that statement, or another commissioner say, hey, that's just not right. I would tell you, even in a court of law, when you swear people in, doesn't mean they're going to tell you the truth. And it doesn't mean that they don't necessarily believe, because of their own experiences, their own education, that they don't believe that is the truth. That's why the five of us have to sit here and flush all that out at the end of the day and go, okay, well, what is the truth? Somewhere in between A and B. I understand what you're trying to accomplish. I don't think it accomplishes much more than what we're already doing, but adds another layer of time to go on top of these meetings. But I'm welcome to hear what others think. Commissioner Herr?
I think typically the term quasi-judicial is a very interesting legal term to me. I think if you lie in a court of law, there's a consequence for that. And
If you get caught.
I'm specifically using the term lie. I do think somebody can be inaccurate, a misstatement of fact that's not a lie. Somebody can believe or have a different perspective. And I'd be willing to swear somebody in if we had any teeth in the back of that, if we knew there was outright misrepresentation. I would also tell you that we have a lot of areas of this governance where we have the opportunity to have teeth in things and we don't use them. So if there is no chance for that, then I would rather not. And if there is, then we would need to be committed to executing on it. I don't know how we would do that.
You want staff to look into that?
Well, I wondered if we could just ask the county attorney at some point to look and see why do some jurisdictions do it? What are their teeth? How would it be implemented? Is it worth doing or not? It may not be.
Sure. I mean, I can look into that. In my experience, we've client cities I've represented, we've always sworn in witnesses during quasi-judicial hearings. The county I worked for previously did not, similar to Seminole. When you're conducting quasi-judicial matters, it is best practice to swear in your witnesses. It's better for the record. You're looking for competent, substantial evidence, and sworn testimony is the best testimony. And there's consequences if, a misrepresentation were to be found going forward, both legally for the action that you voted on and for the person that gave the testimony.
So I'm a yes if we're willing to follow the consequences.
If there's
It's worthy of
consequences,
the discussion.
yeah, I'm happy to have staff look into
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Report back to us.
All right, thank
Fair
you.
enough. There's
pros
Yep.
and cons.
I just want to, I want to hear from the professional pros and cons of whether it's something we even want to do. Because
Okay.
Chairman,
Good.
I'm sorry, do we need a motion on 41 because there was a resolution to be approved or
No, we just gave staff direction.
no? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Commissioner?
no, thank you. I'm sorry for taking so much
No
time.
worries. Anything else? Seeing none, we will go to public forum input. We have some speaker comments.
Just have one speaker, Mr. Christopher Luzier.
Okay, and we remind folks, this is the time where you can come speak about non-agenda items from the public. You're given 3 minutes for each speaker. If you desire to speak, you need to have your form turned in now, not after the speakers have already begun. And we'll get started if you'll put your name and your address on the record when you come to the podium, and specifically what you intend to speak about. Welcome, sir.
My name is Christopher Sean Luzier. I live at 119 Collaborative Springs Cove in Sanford. I'm here to advocate for the Seminole County Libraries today. They're one of the most valuable assets we have in this community. Our libraries are not just buildings filled with books, they're beacons of knowledge, of hope, a sanctuary for learning, and a vital resource for all the members of our community, regardless of their identity. The library is more than just a repository of books, it's a hub of community engagement and enrichment. The library plays a crucial role in promoting literacy and lifelong learning. It provides resources and support for students of all ages, helping them succeed in school, business, and beyond. For many people, the library is a safe and welcoming space of exploration. In addition to its educational and cultural significance, the library also has tangible benefits for economic development. Studies have shown that communities with well-funded libraries tend to have higher rates of literacy and better educational outcomes and stronger economies. By investing in our libraries, we are investing in the future prosperity of our county. I urge your continued support for our library systems by providing increased funding earmarked specifically for libraries in both the areas of operations and capital improvements. An investment in our libraries is an investment in the future of Seminole County. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, sir.
The remaining time back to the chair.
Yes, thank you very much. And we appreciate your willingness to serve on the advisory board for the libraries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate your willingness to do so. Next up,
Next is Sherry Johnson.
okay. If
That
you'll
will be
name
the last
three.
speaker.
Sherry be the last speaker? Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Sherry.
Good afternoon.
We submitted a video.
You're all set to go.
No, we had submitted a video. I didn't know if we were able to watch it. No.
You got 3 minutes.
Okay.
Now, unless you want to show a 3-minute video, then feel free to show a 3-minute video.
No.
Your folks reached out and said he had a 9 or 10-minute video they wanted to watch, which I said that's not
Okay.
happening.
I'm Sherry Johnson, 172 Williams Road, Lake Mary. We did submit a video, which you should have received in an email today. It is of attorney Christina S. Heuser. Her principal practices are civil rights and constitutional law in Naples, Florida, Collier County. She is the author of the Bill of Rights Sanctuary County Ordinance. She graduated from Georgetown University and Brooklyn Law School. Ms. Heuser is the former Chief Litigation Counsel for Advocates for Faith and Freedom and presently serves as legal counsel to the American Constitutional Rights Union as an allied attorney with Alliance Defending Freedom. Christina Heuser is also a mother and public servant. She serves on the worship team at her church, as a committee person on our local Republican Executive Committee, and as chair of the Faith and Family Subcommittee of that organization. She was recently appointed by Governor DeSantis to the Board of Trustees of Florida Southwestern State College. In summary of her points in the video, which would apply to Seminole County, the proposed ordinance, if passed in Seminole County, will make it illegal for Seminole County to participate in carrying out any unconstitutional federal mandates, orders, or programs. This has been upheld by the Supreme Court as within the county's lawful authority. The federal government cannot force or pressure local government to act in carrying out their programs if unlawful per the Constitution. The ordinance makes it unlawful for the county to carry out federal government programs that are deemed to be unconstitutional. This ordinance has penalties and is enforceable by law. If the ordinance is violated, it will go through the judicial system like any other ordinance to determine whether the ordinance is violated. Federal law is still applicable. We want the federal Constitution to apply to Seminole County. The ordinance only prohibits the county from participating in carrying out unconstitutional programs, which is completely within the rights of the local government. It is an essential part of federalism, which is an American principle. The county will not be jeopardized from getting all federal grants unless what they're asking the county to do would violate the constitutional rights of Seminole County citizens. We know our Board of County Commissioners would not do that. This would protect the citizens in Seminole County from future county commissioners that may not follow or understand the U.S. Constitution like you all do. A couple quotes. Chris Hall, Collier County Commissioner, said, "This is not an ordinance to go against any constitutional law that comes forth. This is an ordinance that allows you, the people, to be protected by anything that comes down that's unconstitutional or what we would call an unlawful act." Sheriff Rambosk of Collier County, when he was asked how he could support this ordinance, he said, "How can I not support this ordinance? I'm a sworn constitutional officer. I'm committed to upholding the Constitution." That's all that this ordinance and we are asking you to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
And here's about 25 more.
Thank you. Ms. Dominic, any other speakers?
No, sir.
Seeing none, we'll close the public comment. Anything else for the good of the order this afternoon, fellow commissioners?
No, sir.
Anything from our senior staff members?
No, we're good. Thank you.
Seeing none, the meeting is now adjourned.